child. It's day 1 and 2 in the Alicia Andrews trial, and this is what I've learned. Thugs need hugs too. These people that spend all their lives being drill rappers and thugs. Get up on that daggone stand and cry like that. Day 1 started off with a bang. We had opening arguments, and the prosecution said she did it. She's a principal. Basically, that means that even though she isn't the one that actually committed the act, that she participated in such a way that she can be guilty of all the same things as the person who actually pulled the trigger. They contend that Alicia booked the Airbnb, the rental car, and some other things in order to help to facilitate the unaliving of Julio, that she helped to stalk and report back to the perpetrators all of his movement on the night in question. The defense said she's just a girl. She's just a girl who was spending a weekend out of town with her man. They say she wasn't in the loop because she wasn't in the group. I'm sure we're going to hear that line a lot the rest of this day on trial. We had a few witnesses for the state that came up, and they talked about the fact that they were invited to Julio's birthday celebration on the weekend in question. He apparently had posted all over Instagram where he would be, where his official party was, and had a bunch of people come to an Airbnb where they started the party and eventually got kicked out of. They started moving through the night, going to different clubs, the club that was on his official flyer, and other clubs. But at the end of the night, they didn't have anywhere to stay because they got kicked out of the Airbnb for making too much noise. And they went to a couple of hotels to try and get a room. But apparently there was no more rooms at the end. On cross for the female witnesses, they were asking if they knew Alicia Andrews. Was she at the club that she was at? So all of those questions, they said, no, I ain't never seen her before. I don't know. They were asked about the gangs in question and if they knew the gangs, they knew about the beef, etc., etc. Most of the ladies admitted, I'm just a girl. In fact, that was a quote, a direct quote from one of the witnesses. I'm just a girl. I don't get involved in any of that. I was invited to a party. And that's a home run if you ask me for the defense, because that's what they're alleging of Alicia. She's just a girl that wanted to spend a weekend away with her man. Then they had 2 witnesses on the stand that actually were victims on the night in question. One who couldn't look at any of the pictures of him in the hospital because it just broke him all to pieces. Real thugs cry too. Then we get day 2, in a woman whose family was there at that hotel on the day in question. They were moving their daughter into college, and they stayed at the hotel across the street from the dorm. They were waking in the middle of the night to the sound of gunfire, and when they went to leave, they found out that also their rental car had been sprayed with bullets. They had several law enforcement officers there just detailing the scene, who they spoke to, the witnesses that they engaged, how they secured the scene, etc. But also I wanted to point out that in the beginning of day 2, the defense lost a big blow. Because they have been giving interviews, the judge ordered a gag order in this case. The defense also was fighting to keep out some text messages between Alicia and her best friend dating back to 2021, where they were kind of talking about Julio and all the gossip that was happening around Jacksonville. They contend that this was just idle gossip between 2 girlfriends years before this incident happened, and it doesn't go to state of mind in this case. But just like I thought, the judge let that in. Anyway, we'll see what day 3 brings. Continue to follow me for more updates on this trial and others.